Hi, guys. Mindy, Life on Purpose Coach here, and I am so excited to have Megan Sumrell with me. Hi, Megan.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm super excited to be here.
I am thrilled that you are taking some time out and you're going to share with my people who I love so much. And I just want to tell them a little bit about you.
Okay.
So, Megan is a former corporate software nerd turned entrepreneur. As a business owner, mom, and wife, she knows exactly how hard it is to juggle all the things while still maintaining your own sense of self and purpose. When her daughter was born in 2010, life as she knew it completely changed. After struggling to manage work, motherhood, family, etc., Megan set about a new way to manage her time and organize her calendar. She took her 20+ year career in systems and processes and applied it to one of her favorite things, time management. She's the creator of the Top Program, a program that teaches her proprietary system and processes regarding time management, organization, and productivity for the female entrepreneur. Boom. Boom. I have to tell you, my bio says one of my favorite things is a brownie. Yours is time management. Mine's a brownie.
Well, if I was allowed to throw food in there, we'd be talking nachos.
And shoes. I know you have a shoe fetish.
Shoes.
So,
I got a
and
shoe
shoes.
situation. Yes.
Yes, yes. Awesome. So tell us all the things, because we tend to struggle with that as female entrepreneurs, right? We think and we should all over ourselves. And well, this person's doing it and it works, and that person's doing it and it works. But you and I, we know better, right?
Yes. And I think one of my big pet peeves is so many of the books that are listed as like the must read for the entrepreneur, while they're great and no offense, but they're written by men and they're not written by women and they're not written by moms. And by moms, I mean, you've got kids at home that you physically have to do things for. And I forget, wow, I was reading one book recently. It made me angry. Like it was a 4-hour work week.
Oh,
By the time I was done with it, I'm like, how nice for you that you are a man with no wife, no family, no anything, and you work 4 hours a week. Like that is not the reality for the female entrepreneur or the mompreneur. And so that is why I am so passionate about really working with women that are building businesses, particularly around families, to say, hey, the way they're telling you to do it, it is okay if that doesn't work for you, because you've got a kid going, mom, 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 like every 10 minutes. And so how we need to create our goals and structure our time and organize our calendar, like it's really different. And I know this because I lived it, because I was like, I was the naive single woman till, my mid 30s. I got married later, started a family later. And I'd look around at these women. I'm like, just like get it together. And then I had a kid. I was like,
oh,
oh
and
my God.
then you were like, dang, I should have had a little more grace for those ladies.
I went from like this together lady to like instant hot mess express. Just, my goal was like, I showered today, like, whoo, got it done. So it is definitely something I really feel a calling to be able to go work with women to say, you know what, you can have it all. It's just going to look differently, and you just can't have it all at the same time. So
that was
let's
gonna that was gonna be
structure
what
your
I was gonna say, like, because that's I speak to my clients about that. Like, you get to have it all, but your all isn't her all. Like, let's be real clear that all is comes from inside. It's not worldly all. Like, and we work through that too. Like you said, it's not a one size fits all, and it's based on you and your needs. And so my getting to have it all, looks a lot different than someone else's. And so I
Yeah.
think our women need permission to know that too, that having it all doesn't have to look like corporate job, and you do the laundry and you do this and you do all the things, and somehow there's still energy left. That's not having it all. That's not even real.
No.
That's not
And
real
I
life.
think what I see so many female entrepreneurs doing is, in the quest for having it all, there are what I call wearing, I always talk about switching your hats or your roles. They're trying to be two roles at the same time. So they're answering emails while helping a kid with homework while trying to cook dinner. And that's because they're trying to, quote, balance. And I hate that word.
Me too. I
So
hate that
I always
word.
talk about work-life harmony.
Harmony. Yes.
And so helping and working with women to say, okay, no, we have got to minimize the amount of time you are in two roles of your life at the same time, because that is when you get burnt out, you get strung out, nothing's getting done well, and literally the joy is sucked out of you. Because that happened to me. I woke up one morning and I was like, I have all the things I said I wanted, and I am miserable.
Ugh.
Like miserable. And all I did to shift out of that state into where I am today, where, I mean, I've got a kid, so no, every day it's not rainbows and unicorns, but I can honestly say, like, I am living a life of passion and purpose and fulfillment, because I'm putting myself into one role at a time, very intentionally.
Fantastic.
Throughout my day. And so that is what I'm really passionate about helping women do.
I love that. I'm excited that you're sharing that with us. And my audience knows, like, productivity, because that's a lot, energy, productivity, focus. We deal a lot with that, body, mind, and soul. And so productivity goes way down when we start multitasking, even though we think,
Yes.
oh, I can do all the things, right? The moment that we have all those windows open, right? All those browsers open, that's it. Like, our productivity just got slashed in half, at least, if not down 75%.
Yeah.
Like,
And there
we shot
are,
ourselves in the foot.
like, I am all about purposeful productivity, where, so like for me, that means I do all my educational work. I binge on my podcasts, my self-development, all of that, while I'm scrubbing toilets and folding laundry, because those don't need my focus. So there are places in your life where multitasking is actually really beneficial. But when you're trying to be two different people at once, that is when everything just tanks. And it was interesting when I was really making changes in how I manage my time. I was a math major. I'm a software nerd. Like, I mean, I'm the biggest geek possible. So I was tracking everything. And I actually decreased my working hours by almost 40%. And my business started growing by 45%.
Holy
and I was
cow.
working less.
That's fantastic.
Huge. But when I work, what I'm doing, I'm 100% all in, instead of trying to be three people at the same time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I know you're going to share with us about a morning or sometime routine.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
and this is something you and I had chatted about, and there's so much buzz and noise and excitement out there now about the morning routine and how highly productive people all have these purposeful, meaningful morning routines, and Hal Elrod wrote a beautiful book called The Miracle Morning, and there's movements around doing this. And so I am always questing for higher productivity. So I bought this book and I tried to implement his morning routine about 3 years ago. And it was like an epic failure. Like, I mean, miserable failure. And I am a morning person. I'm even a morning person. And I tried his routine. I'm like, this is not, like, it's making me kind of angry. And so I was trying to figure out, as women, what's wrong with me? God forbid, maybe that just wasn't okay for me. So I started really digging into this, and I found this incredible study that was done where they took and broke down all 16 personality types from the Myers-Briggs, which I'm a total Myers-Briggs like geek as well. And basically went through those and kind of said, hey, based on your personality type, what is going to set you up for success for the day could be completely different depending upon that. And that almost gave me the permission to go, okay, so let me explore this further and figure out what sets me up for success. And so the first thing to figure out for yourself is, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Okay.
And talking through that, it's not what you think about as an introvert or an extrovert. Most people who meet me assume I'm an extrovert, I am a raging introvert. And it's really, how do you re-energize yourself? What refuels you? If you're kind of pooped and tired, do you want to go crawl in a hole and be alone? Or do you want to go be up and about with people?
Right.
And for me, I need a lot of alone time. And so I found if my day started with my husband and my daughter, mom, Meg's, like instant bad mood for me.
Ah.
I need some space in the morning to wake up where it is completely quiet, because that kind of gives me the energy that I need to then be able to go and serve others. Whereas extroverts, oftentimes, if they wake up and it's a really quiet, like morning with meditation or whatever, that does not work for them, because their energy is being depleted because they need those external energy sources.
Got it. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of different suggestions on some morning activities that might serve you well based on if you're an introvert or an extrovert. And then they even break it down further into, are you more of a creative type or an analytical type? And so I really explored this for a long time. And my morning routine is certainly not one that looks like the miracle morning. I do have quiet time for myself, but because I'm a very hyper type A person, I feel restful if I can have my cup of coffee and go review my list for the day first thing in the morning. And everything you read says, like, don't do that. But if I can't do that, I can't rest my brain, because then I'm just in a stress mode. Once I've done that, and then I've gotten some physical exercise, which for me, you will probably laugh, yoga, no, yoga makes me really angry. So I need to go
Meg,
out.
you got a lot of anger stuff. Like a lot of things are making
psychiatrist
me
with.
I am a life
me,
coach,
Yeah, I need like physical, like a boot camp, like a sledgehammer and a tire. And I run most mornings. And that gives me what I need. Once I've done that, then I can sit down quietly with my journal and have that quiet time, because I've allowed everything to get out of my brain and gotten my body moving. Whereas other women, they want to wake up and have music playing. Like if you're an extrovert, they need that energy source, maybe a podcast. And then what I think is really interesting is, people beat themselves up for saying they're not morning people. And they keep saying, I'm going to force this on myself. I've got to get up at an hour and a half before my kids. Well, if you just aren't wired as a morning person, you just may not be. Right. And just as I am not wired for an evening person, even in college, like I just couldn't go do the nighttime. I'm just not, that's not who I am. So I've worked with women who, instead of getting up and having a morning routine to really launch them for the day, they create an evening routine, because they get a second wind at night. And after their kids have gone to bed, that's when we look at what activities can we put in the evening that make your mornings run smoother, so that you're not having to get up really early. That's hard for you.
Right. And so for you to figure this out for yourself, you really had to tune into your body and give yourself permission to figure it out.
Yes. And to say, try this for a week and see how I feel. And what's interesting, and I find a lot of women that I've kind of worked through as they navigate it, after a couple months of doing it, whether it's evening or morning, you just naturally want to start setting that alarm clock a little earlier, or maybe staying up extra later, because it fills you so much. And we just came back, my husband and daughter and I, from a family trip, which are always, it was a very relaxing trip, and I allow myself to sleep in, but I noticed by the last day, I was irritable, because my day was starting being on with others without giving myself that space in the morning before being present. So I'm like, okay, note to self, I need to create that for myself, even on vacation. And maybe it'll only be 10 minutes instead of the hour that I do now at home.
Right. Right. And, being, just like a side note about that, being on vacation, because we're in a completely different environment anyway, our brain will go, okay, you're going to do 10 minutes and that's going to be okay. Like it will buy into it with you more so than if your habit is an hour at home and you tried to do 10 minutes and call it good because, but you still really wanted the other 50 minutes, your brain will keep on you about it. So being on vacation is a really good time to actually start a new habit or try something different because you're already out of routine, right? Your body
Yeah.
and your brain's already like, what's going on? Where are you? What is that smell? You know what I mean? Like just everything that happens. Well, I love that you tuned in because the other thing that we do as women is we doubt ourselves. We doubt about, can I figure this out? Can I follow this? Or even, can I make it my own? Like, does it have to be just like so-and-so's, list and, how Elrod, does it have to be like that? Does it have to be like this? I read several months ago a book by Kate Northrup, which I believe you would absolutely love. And it's called Do Less.
Oh, my word for this year was less.
Less.
Yes.
You will love Kate Northrup. And
I'll read that.
She talks so much about how as women, we are not on a 24-hour clock. And so that's why it can be so difficult and we can feel so defeated when we set up a schedule that's 24 hours. We look at it and think that all the things should be done when we actually cycle like a 28 day. That is our internal clock. It's with the moon. If you're not still having your period, but literally as a woman, like our insides create that. And there are different phases for us to be more productive, more introspective. It's fascinating. And I think you would really enjoy
interesting.
it.
I heard, and I don't know who it was, but I was listening to an interview with someone recently who really, like, she hones into all the womb stuff and everything. And if someone had said this to me 5 years ago, I would have been like, you're quack, I'm out of here. But the more self-development and introspective I get, more open-minded I've become with all this. And she definitely took it to extreme. I was like, I'm not sure I'm there yet. But she left with this great takeaway of to go and write down over the course of like 2 solid months, just a quick note in your journal or day planner every day, like, were you in a productive zone? Were you not? Just quick notes. I was like, I'll give this, I'll be open-minded and try it. Well, sure enough, I did it for 3 straight months. Exact 28-day rhythm.
Look at that.
Of where I'm feeling creative, where I'm not, where I'm productive, where I'm not.
Yep.
And so now I factor that into my business planning.
It's incredible.
And I know, like, I am not going to run a 5-day challenge
during this time.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to show up in my best self.
Exactly. So more permission as a woman that I think that we also get caught up in being in our masculine, and we have masculine and feminine energy, and being a type A and being you tune into your masculine energy a lot. The lists and all those things are very masculine. And so finding that feminine, that flow, honoring your body, honoring I don't have to be rigid and do it like Hal, poor Hal. He's amazing. And he's not getting the boot on this. It's just, like everybody needs to figure out their own thing. But you being able to be in your feminine, in the flow like that, and nurture and create and do those things. And so that's not always what we see, though. If we look at successful people, except I will say James Wedmore is like, I'm just such a mentor, like I just can't get enough of him. He does not get up early in the morning. He doesn't even set an alarm clock. So he's one of the dudes that doesn't. Yeah. But lots of them do say, like, that it's the early morning, it's that kind of a thing. But us being allowed to ebb and flow between our masculine and our feminine as women, and honoring ourselves to tune into both. And then when we're noticing some disharmony in that, to really like, okay, what's going on here? I'm cranky, I'm this, I'm that. What's not getting fed? What's not getting nourished in my morning routine, or, but really, I love that you were tracking that productivity.
Yeah. And I mean, anywhere in your day. So one of my clients I was working with, she's really struggling on, so she works full time, and she's working on building a network marketing business. and she's got 2 kids at home as well. And so we've been really working on fine tuning how she is scheduling her week. So you've got to do weekly planning. If you go day to day, that's a whole nother like 3-hour conversation. But she was really struggling with these one set of tasks that need to be done every day. And they just kept not getting done, and they kept not getting done. So I said, all right, we're going to go back for a week, and I need you to track your energy levels. Like, just jot it down every day. Like, when are you feeling, and I kind of gave her these little categories. And so at the end of the week, we went back and looked at it. And by simply saying she had these things she was trying to get done from 7 to 7:30 in the morning. And I said, this next week, let's move those, because you do get a lunch break from 12 to 1. And we're going to shift that 30 minutes of tasks that you're doing to noon instead, and quit trying to be productive in the morning, because that does not seem to be a good time for you. Holy smokes, the change in her in that week of making that one tiny shift was incredible. She's like, oh, Megan, I did it every single day, and it was easy, and I'm on it, and I'm enjoying it. And actually by Thursday and Friday, I did twice as much.
Incredible.
But you're trying to shove that square peg in a round hole. And, because she's got to do and her husband travels all the time, is boot to boot. So, I mean, she's doing all the things, trying to build a business and working and raising kids. And so you've got to give yourself permission to say, no, let me take a step back and find ways to move things around in my life, and not try and force them into fitting a way that everyone's saying it should.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I work so much with my clients on just energy, but it's your thoughts, it's everything, I mean, it's body, mind, and soul. And it starts in our brain. And not only that, but the habit, we fall into the habit of, so it sounds like she was in the habit of trying to make it happen in the morning. It wasn't happening. So there was a whole self-sabotage thing going on, defeated feeling, not to mention her brain was like giving her the signals. You're supposed to be doing this now. You're not going to do it, but you're supposed to be doing it now, kind of a thing. I mean, just all of that.
The guilt piles up, and
Yes. And so being able to tune into the energy levels, and what's taking this energy from me, what can feed it back to me, kind of a thing, switching it. I love that. Like, let's just look at a different thing. And also understanding our own habits and how we can literally change a habit, but it all starts in our thought. Like, what are we thinking? How are we showing up in this? I teach a lot on be, do, have, and being. Who am I being? Well, right now I'm being someone who's trying to stick a square peg in a round hole, because I'm trying to make this work, and it's not working for me, and it hasn't worked in this long. So how is this serving me, kind of thing? Asking ourselves those questions helps our energy and productivity level as well.
And I know one of the things you are a big believer in, and most people get shocked when they hear me coach on how to build out your weekly plan, is once you've gone in and plugged in your they're committed to a specific time, like they're not flexible. So like your work hours, if you work outside the home, or doctor's appointments, meetings, things like that, where I have to be there at that time. Once that goes in, the next thing everyone jumps into doing is they start filling up their calendar with the things they have to do. And with my clients, I say, no, before you put anything else in there, we're carving out your non-working time. And we put that in your calendar. You make an appointment with yourself for when are you saying, I am not going to be in the role of work. Then obviously you can't fill out your whole calendar with that.
Right.
But then once you've done that, now we're going to look at what pockets of time are left, what you've got to do. And then I go through a really strategic way of color coding and creating actual attainable time blocks on how to get those done. But first thing you have to do is reserve. I'm very much an anti-Gary V follower on the hustle. Like, no.
Me too.
And as a woman, just no. And so for me, I know that is from 3 to 6 every day. I pick my daughter up at 3, and then it's that time and dinner and family and homework. And before, I was trying to do 3 things at once from 3 to 6 every day. Now my phone goes to dark, my apps turn off, because you can do all that on your phone.
Right.
I don't accept appointments, and I don't work from 3 to 6 on Monday through Friday. And because I do that, then when I come back in the evening on the 2 nights I do work, only 2, now I can get caught up in like 20 minutes.
Right.
But it's so you've got to carve time out. And we as women, that's the very first thing that we let go, is the stuff for us.
Well, agreed. So something that we talk about all the time is I get to, like, I have to, no, I get to, you get to set this sacred appointment with yourself, because as cliche as it is, you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
It's true.
The way that we, especially as female entrepreneurs, not even just women, but female entrepreneurs even more, abandon self-care and think that
the first thing to go.
Self-care is selfish, and somehow stress is this badge of honor and we don't even realize it, honestly.
Busy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not, no one's impressed, kind of a thing. And you are completely losing yourself in that process, and not showing up for, number one, not showing up for yourself, nor the people around you. And you get to change that. You get to make yourself a priority, which helps everything else fall into line, and you have that harmony then.
Yeah.
It's when we're trying to get there. You can't get there from here. No. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get to work-life harmony. You can't get to sacred appointments for yourself. You can't get to that space from I've abandoned self-care and I am just stressed out, and that's how my life is. Like, you can't get there from embodying that identity. And
it's not going to happen overnight to make that transformation. Like, when I was really honing in on what my morning routine needed to be, my daughter was 4 at the time. And my husband calls me Megs. And so I knew, I was like, okay, when I wake up to hearing Mom or Megs, it's not working. And so I sat down with my family and I said, okay, guys, here's the deal. Mom and Megs is unavailable before 7 a.m. Like, she doesn't exist, because there was nothing I needed to do for anybody before 7. And so I set those ground rules, and it was probably day 3 of this. And I'm up in my quiet space doing my thing. And it was like 6:55, and I hear little footsteps coming up. Darn it. Sure enough, the door opens. My daughter opens it, being 100% genuine, like not a snarky bone in her body, because she's been processing this. So she thought she figured out the system. So she opens the door and says, excuse me, Megan, I know Mom's not here till 7, but could you make me some breakfast? Like, she thought, I'll figure it out. I just don't say Mom. But I turn around and I said, you know what? Megan just doesn't know how to do the things that Mom does. So Mom will be down in 5 minutes. But it took weeks of sticking to it and prioritizing myself. Nobody was going to die. Nobody was going to starve to death. When the food thing became an issue, well, then I just started leaving a snack out the night before. So there was a little bowl of fruit there. If you can't make it till 7, go get yourself the fruit. Mom is just not here till 7.
And were you comfortable in that? Like, did it take you time to?
Heck yeah. The very first I was mad. Then I was like, and I was like, no, it is 5 stinking minutes. I'm going to respect this for myself. Because if I don't respect it here, then where am I?
Exactly.
You know?
And if you are not self-integral, no one will honor your integrity. No, you'll never get that time back. Like, the 5 minutes, the this, the that kind of a thing.
If it starts there in the morning, I'm just setting myself up for constant. Fine. It's just easier, because we always go to that one. It's just easier. And it would have been easier in that moment. But now here I am, 6 years later, no one in this house bugs me before 7 unless it's truly an emergency. And then I'm fine with that.
Right.
But they, just no.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Gosh, so much wisdom. I love this. This has just been an absolute joy. So tell everyone where we can find you.
So I'm old, so I still hang out on Facebook, but you can just find me at Megan Sumrell, both Facebook and Instagram. I do have a little kind of time management cheat sheet that I've put together, and you can find that at theworklifeharmony.com. So
I'll
if
be
you
sure to
just
link
type
that.
in, yeah,
I'll link that up.
theworklifeharmony.com,
Okay.
you can go download my free time management cheat sheet there. And I've got a really cool 5-day challenge starting next Monday as
Fantastic.
well. That's called Goal to Grow. So for all of you entrepreneurs out there, one of the things that I took a lot of time, took a lot of courses actually in my corporate life, was working with teams on how to actually identify like what I call your key focus goal. What is the one thing based on all the goals you have for your business? How do we narrow this down to what is the one thing that you should be focused on to make the needle move the biggest?
Okay.
So I've got a 5-day challenge next week where I'm going to be sharing what I call my secret weapon in doing this with folks, where we're going to walk through, and it'll be unique to everybody, but how you assess. We're going to start with kind of what's your vision, what are your big goals, and then I'm going to be teaching people how they figure out based on that, what is the one thing they should focus on, and then how do you actually go build an action plan on it.
Fantastic.
It's going to be jam-packed 5 days, but that is also right there at theworklifeharmony.com.
Okay.
And then /goal to grow. I'll send you the link for that.
Okay, good. I was going to say, I'll post that because I'm going to put it
totally
up
free
on
challenge.
all my socials too.
Yeah. And it will be my commitment. I'm going to have to talk really fast, is it won't be more than 20 minutes a day of me kind of, some days it'll be less, other days will be right up at 20 minutes, but it's just the 5 days, and you will walk away with an action plan for your specific goal and then how you're going to track it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. That's fantastic. Yeah. So you are my very first interview. And so I feel like I need to start a tradition. And so my tradition is going to be, what is your favorite quote?
Oh, it has nothing to do with time management.
That's okay.
Okay? This has just been with me since I was probably in middle school. And it's Robert Frost. And it's the 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and it has made all the difference.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. That was awesome.
I know, like I'm getting emotional reading it, but that has been.
That has everything to do with time management. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh,
that has stuck with me. You said that, and that just like
that's fantastic
me in my face.
I love it. That was perfect. Then it was the perfect question and the perfect way to end. That's because as entrepreneurs, we take the road less traveled.
Yeah,
we get to.
I love that. Yes.
It has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.